wabarakatuh. My name is Shahira binti Syarif from Group RBA 2424A. So today I'm going to be presenting about Bay Istisna and Ar-Rahnu by giving the definition and also evidence. So basically Bay Istisna is the word istisna derived from the Arabic verb which means istasna, which is mean to request someone to manufacture on assets. So technically Bay Istisna is defined as a contractual agreement with manufacturer to produce items with specified description at a determined price and manufactured from his own material with his own effort. So basically from its definition from the Majalah Al-Ankam Al-Adliyah, a contract with the marker manufacturer on the specific task that is liable to complete, or also known as Malaysian Accounting Standards Board, which is a contract of exchange, or as known as Malaysian Accounting Standards Board, which is MASB, that define the istisna as a contract of exchange whereby an IFI at the request of the customer acquires an asset for purchase or construction based on specifications by the customer. So the payment of acquisition price to manufacturer, developer or vendor or the asset is made up from by determined future date. So basically it is an order to produce or to manufacture a specific commodity for the purchaser. It also emphasizes, so basically the emphasis in istisna is the specificity of subject matter to avoid horror, which we know horror as the uncertainty, ensuring that the seller cannot transact with something that cannot be accurately described. So one can describe equipment, a factory or an industrial plant, but not fish in the sea for catching them since their type and volume is unknown. So upon delivery, the IFI sells it to the customer at a prevailing market price comprising original acquisition price and a margin of profit. So basically the customer repays by installment within a period and in the manner agreed between the IFI and the customer. So basically the evidence of Bay Istisna is, according to jurists, the legality on an istisna, a contract is established. So basically the evidence of Bay Istisna is, according to a jurist, the legality on the istisna contract is established from different legal sources such as the Sunnah, Ijma, Qiyas and Istihsan, and there is also no difference of opinion on its permissibility. It clearly can be seen from the hadith that indeed that the Prophet ﷺ booked the making of a golden ring. So other than that, the istisna contract is legitimate on the basis of the people's customary practice of this contract in all periods of time without any objection, which in turn constitutes a legal consensus. Now I will continue with the Ar-Rahnu. So basically the definition of Ar-Rahnu means constancy and continuity or holding and binding. So technically Ar-Rahnu can be defined as taking a property as a security against a debt, so whereby the secured property can be utilized to repay the debt in the case of non-payment. So basically it is also termed as pawning, mortgage, collateral charge, lion and place. So that is the technically definition of Ar-Rahnu. So Rahnu literally also means to detain a thing legally. It is the detention of a corporate property on account of claims such as a debt which may be satisfied out of that property. So nature of Ar-Rahnu is actually in Arabic it means al-subut wa al-dawam, which is fixed and external. So Rahnu is classified as it does not require any financial obligation on the part of Murtahin, which is a creditor, when the Rahin debtor give him the pawn object. So the purpose of Ar-Rahnu is to convince the creditor that the debt will not simply disappear or vanish in case of default payment on part of the debtor. So this is because in case of non-payment, the pledged property will be sold or option on the process will be taken by the creditor to compensate for the losses as a result of the bad debt. So basically, however, the creditor is only entitled to the total amount owed to him by the debtor, and the balance will be returned back to the owner of the placed property, which is the debtor. So for the evidence for Ar-Rahnu, we can see that from the Al-Quran aspect, it is refers to the idea of pawning as mortgage with possession, which is Rihanun Maqbuda, which is Quran also supports the idea of furnishing a place against a debt. So another evidence is according to Quran verses, every soul is in place Ar-Rahina for its deeds, which is on the verse 74:38. So another than that, from the hadith, we can still say that the issue of mortgage is not only an issue for modern society in Islam. The history of mortgage has been there since the time of Prophet Nabi Muhammad SAW. So from Aisha that a person bought some food stuff from a Jew and mortgage has Amor to. So other than that, for Anas radhiyallahu anhu also mortgaged his Amor to a Jew in Madinah and brought barley bread from the Jew for his family. So, and in the saying in the Prophet SAW, the soul of a believer is marhuna or placed for the debt until it is paid off. So that is all from me. Now I will continue and pass this to the next presenter to discuss our next topics. Okay, that's all from me.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nurul Ain Shamira and I will explain about the pillars of both Ar-Rahnu and Bay Istisna. The main objective is to help poor people to get short-term fund by pawning gold as collateral, or in Islam it is called Ar-Rahnu. This concept also refers to various terms such as mortgage, pledge, charge or even collateral. The same concept has also been adopted in today's Islamic financial industry. The majority of the Islamic jurists agrees that there are 4 pillars in the Ar-Rahnu concept, which is as follows. First, we have offers and acceptance, which is called Sirah. Parties in the Ar-Rahnu contract, Rahin and Mutahin, the person who provides the collateral and the person who receives the collateral. Third one is collateral asset, which is called Marhun. The fourth and last one is the debt itself, which is called Marhun B. The Ar-Rahnu will be an instrument to facilitate the microfinancing. Here, the amount of financing given will be depend on the value of the marhun. In a normal Ar-Rahnu microfinancing, the customer pledges their valuable assets such as gold to the pawn shop, or known as kedai pajak kedai Islam as the marhun. The marhun will be valued and the customer will be granted a loan based on a certain percentage, say 70% of the value of the marhun. During the borrowing period, the pawn shop, as the keeper of the asset, charges a fee based on daily or monthly calculation for its service safekeep of the pledged item until it is reclaimed and the debt is settled. By this, the practice of Ar-Rahnu as an instrument to facilitate the financing can be seen especially in obtaining microfinancing. Now let's see the pillars of Bay Istisna. Bay Istisna is defined as a contractual agreement with manufacturer to produce item with specified description at determined price, and manufacturer from his own material with his own effort. The Istisna contract is legitimate on the basis of the people customary practice of his contract in all periods of time without any objection, which in turn constitute a legal consensus. The pillars are as follows. We have Mustani as the customer, Sani is the manufacturer, Ras Al-Mal, the price, Masnu, the product, and last but not least, we have Sirah, which is the ijab and kabul. Ijab is offer, kabul is acceptance. For the normal Istisna contract that involve two transacting parties, which is the customer, the mustani, and the manufacturer, sani. The customer approached the manufacturer to construct a specified asset for him. They agree on specification of the asset, the price, the date of the delivery, and the time of contract execution. Next, the customer pays the price to manufacturer in cash or installment according to their agreement. Next, after the completion of manufacturing process, the manufacturer delivers the completed asset to customer on delivery date. Next, we have parallel istisna. It is a contractual agreement consists of two series of separate istisna contracts, whereby the first istisna contract is between the ultimate purchaser and the seller, who is responsible for delivering the specified asset to the purchaser. First, the customer wants to purchase the certain asset to be manufactured or constructed, for example, a house, and approaches the Islamic bank for financing. Then the Islamic bank enters into a istisna contract with the customer. The price is determined as bank cost plus profit margin. And then the Islamic bank enters into a parallel istisna contract with the contractor to construct the asset as per the agreed specification with customer. The Islamic bank pays the cost of instruction to the contractor in the second istisna contract. After the completion of the manufacturing process, the Islamic bank delivers the asset to the customer upon the delivery date. Sometimes, the Islamic bank appoints the contractor its agent to deliver the asset to the customer on its behalf. Last, the customer pays the price of istisna asset to the Islamic bank in form installment or lump sum according to their agreement. So that's all the pillars of the Ar-Rahnu and Bay Istisna. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurdaryani binti Mahzani. My metric number is 2021617294 and I am from class RVA 2424A. And I'm going to talk about the conditions of a Bay Istisna and Ar-Rahnu contract. These are some basic rules and conditions which need to be observed in the Istisna and Ar-Rahnu transaction. The first condition of a Bay Istisna contract is the object to be manufactured must be clearly determined in terms of its type, kind, quality, and quantity. This condition is very crucial because Istisna is a sale of non-existent and exempted from the risks associated with subject matter. Secondly, the subject matter of istisna is only the objects which have to be manufactured or constructed. It is not necessary that the seller himself manufactured the item. However, if it is stated in the contract, then the seller has to, according to the contract. The third condition is it is not permissible to do istisna contract on an existing and identified asset. For example, it is not allowed to sell a particular car manufactured by a factory to sell on the basis of istisna. The object that the seller wants to include based on istisna contract must be well known and exist. The fourth condition of Bay Istisna is if the subject matter does not conform to the contractual specifications at the time of delivery, the purchaser has the right to either refuse or accept the subject matter. Next, the price in istisna contract must be known at the time of contract execution. The price could be in cash or tangible goods or the usufruct of an asset for defined period. Principally, the price cannot be unilaterally increased or decreased once it's settled in istisna contract. However, the manufacturing of big assets or constructing of large buildings may necessitate more time and material, so in this case it is permissible to adjust the price with mutual consent of the parties. Next, it is permissible in istisna contract to defer the whole price or to pay it in installment within a fixed and known time period. Another condition of Bay Istisna contract is the contract must not binding on the parties as long as the manufacturer does not start work. But once the manufacturer starts works on the subject matter, none of the contracting parties cancel the contract unilaterally. It is important to mention here that majority of the contemporary scholars and Islamic fiqh academy view the istisna as a binding contract on both parties if the necessary terms and conditions of istisna are satisfied. Next, the place of delivery of istisna goods must be specified if it needs loading or manufacturing expenses. Lastly, the delivery of istisna goods may take place through constructive possession by enabling the purchaser to take control over the subject matter, and the purchaser is able to penalize the manufacturer if they fail to deliver the work on specified date. Firstly, the conditions of Ar-Rahnu contract is the indebted party cannot be coerced into putting up a collateral. Secondly, according to Hanbali and Maliki, Ar-Rahnu contract from an orphan and a mentally incompetent property cannot be put up as a collateral by the trustee unless under exceptional circumstances or upon the approval of his or her wali. Thirdly, the property held as collateral must be liquid, valuable, permissible, and exist in time of contract and able to deliver. Next, the another conditions of Ar-Rahnu contract is the property held as collateral must be distinct from other properties. And if the ownership does not change, therefore the owner is responsible for the cost of upkeeping the property even when it is pledged as a collateral. Likewise, the owner continues to enjoy any secondary benefits to the property. Also, there is disagreement among the scholars on whether the property pledged as a collateral can be used. Many of the scholars say that the property cannot be used by either the debtor or the borrower, while many argue that the owner can continue to use the property. Another condition of Ar-Rahnu contract is if the property held as collateral is lost or damaged while in possession of the trustee, there is no guarantee by the trustee, even without any negligence on his part. Next, the ownership of the property cannot be transferred until the debt is settled or the debtor allows for such a transaction. The last conditions of Ar-Rahnu contract is if the borrower cannot pay back at the expiry date of the term, the judge will order the property pledged as collateral to be sold in the open market, even if it is the residence of the borrower.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nadila and I will explain about disadvantage of Ar-Rahnu. Ar-Rahnu, also known as Islamic, Pawnbroking is a form of lending and borrowing based on Islamic principle. While it has its advantage, there are also some potential disadvantages associated with Ar-Rahnu. Here are few. First is limited loan amount. Ar-Rahnu typically offer loan based on the value of the pledged collateral, which is usually gold and jewelry. The loan amount is limited to a percentage of the collateral's price value, which means borrowers may be able to access large amount of money compared to other type of loan. Second is high interest rate. Ar-Rahnu interaction involve charging a fee of profit margin on the loan amount. While this fee is not technically considered interest in Islamic finance, it can be relatively high compared to conventional loan. Borrowers may find themselves paying a significant amount in fees, especially if they are unable to redeem their collateral promptly. And third, risk of losing collateral. If a borrower fails to repay the loan within the agreed upon period, the pawnbroker has the right to sell the pledged collateral to recover the loan amount. This can be a significant risk, especially if the collateral holds a sentimental value or if it is difficult to replace. And fourth is limited flexibility. Ar-Rahnu transactions are typically structured as short-term loan, often ranging from 1 to 6 months. This limited tenure may not be suitable for borrowers who require longer repayment periods. Additionally, there may be restrictions on expanding the loan duration, and borrowers may need to repay the loan in full to reclaim the collateral. And lastly, incomplete financial assistance. Ar-Rahnu focus primarily on the value of the collateral rather than assessing the borrower's creditworthiness or ability to repay. This means the individuals with a poor credit history or insufficient income may find it difficult to access Ar-Rahnu loan, limiting the financial option. It's important to note that the advantage and disadvantages of Ar-Rahnu can vary depending on the specific institution and the term of the agreement. It's advisable to carefully review the term, costs, and risks associated with any financial product before entering into an agreement. Next is disadvantages of Bay Istisna. Bay Istisna is a contract in Islamic finance where one party agrees to manufacture or construct a specific asset according to the specification provided by the other party. While Bay Istisna offers several benefits, it also has certain disadvantages, including first, uncertainty in delivery. Since Bay Istisna involves the manufacturing or construction of a specific asset, there is a risk of uncertainty in the delivery timeline. Factors such as delay in production, storage of raw materials, or technical difficulties can lead to delay in completing the asset. This uncertainty can be a drawback for both buyers and the sellers. Second is quality control challenges. The buyer in a Bay Istisna contract relies on the seller to manufacture or construct the asset as per the agreed upon specification. However, ensuring the quality and compliance of the assets with the given specification can be challenging. There is a risk that the final product may not meet the buyer's expectation in terms of quality or functionality, which can lead to disputes and dissatisfaction. Third is limited marketability. Since Bay Istisna involves the production of a specific asset, the resulting product may have limited market marketability. The buyer may face difficulty in reselling the assets if there is a lack of demand in the market for that particular product. This can potentially impact the buyer's ability to recover their investment to realize profits. Fourth, lack of price discovery. Unlike conventional market transaction where the price is determined through supply and demand dynamics, Bay Istisna involve a predetermined price agreed upon at the time of contract initiation. This lack of price discovery can lead to inefficiency and may not reflect the actual market value of the assets at that time of delivery. 5 is financing challenging. In Bay Istisna, the buyer typically pay in installment during the manufacturing or construction phase. This payment structure may pose challenges for the buyer, particularly if there are delay or disputes during the process. Additionally, the seller may face difficulties in securing financing for the project since the assets completion and delivery may take time. It is important to take note that these disadvantages are specific to Bay Istisna and may not apply to other Islamic finance contract or conventional business transaction. Additionally, the actual impact of these disadvantages can vary depending on the specific circumstances of contractual terms of Bay Istisna agreement. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zanikwa Maisra binti Muhammad Noor and I will be presenting about the comparison between Ar-Rahnu and Bay Istisna. Ar-Rahnu is defined as a contract where a pledger or rahin pledges a valuable asset such as gold items as collateral marhun to a pledgee murtahin in order to fulfill a pledge's debt liability or pecuniary obligation, which is marhun B, owing to the pledgee in the event of default of such pledger. Ar-Rahnu is not a standalone contract. It merely acts as an accessory contract to the interest-free loan. In other words, it is a mere pledge or security contract related to the loan. It is a combination of few concepts like Qardul Hasan, which is benevolent loan, Wadiyah, custody, Wa'ad, promise, and Ujrah, safekeeping, which are all applied for the short-term financing under Islamic pawnbroking. Most of the Islamic jurists agree that there are 4 pillars in Ar-Rahnu concept, which are: the first one is offer and acceptance, which is sirah. Parties in the Rahnu contract, rahin and murtahin, which are the person who provides the collateral and the person who receives the collateral. The third one is collateral asset, marhun, and the last one is the debt itself, which is marhun B. Under the current practice of Islamic banking, the concept of Ar-Rahnu can be applied in 2 different applications. The first application is by using the collateral asset or marhun as the pure security. As an example, under house financing, normally the bank will provide the financing facility for the customer to purchase the house. That makes the bank as the creditor and the customer as a debtor, as the financing is on credit sale, which creates the debt. In this situation, the creditor will make the finance house as the marhun collateral to secure his payment obligations towards the bank. During the security term, the debtor, which is the customer, is unable to sell the house to another party unless permitted by the bank as the creditor. If the customer fails to settle his debt with the bank has the authority to sell the house to settle the outstanding amount from the sale. The bank can only take what is owed to the bank, and the surplus from the sale, if any, will be returned to the customer. This example basically gives the picture of the first application of Ar-Rahnu, which is as the pure security, whereby in the second application of Ar-Rahnu will be an instrument to facilitate the microfinancing. Here, the amount of financing given will be depend on the value of the marhun, which is the pledge asset. In normal Ar-Rahnu microfinancing, the customer pledges their valuable assets such as gold to the pawn shop, or known as Kedai Pajak Gadai Islam, as the marhun. The marhun will be valued and the customer will be granted a loan based on certain percentage. say 70% of the value of the marhun. During the borrowing period, the pawn shop as the keeper of the asset charges a fee based on daily or monthly calculations for its service safekeep of the pledged item until it is reclaimed and the debt is settled. By this, the practice of Ar-Rahnu as an instrument to facilitate the financing can be seen, especially in obtaining microfinancing. The practices of above applications are in line with the growth of Islamic financial industry, especially in regards of types of marhun used for Ar-Rahnu. The asset that is being used as collateral in today's transaction can be in the form of property documents, shares, sukuk certificates and other valuable Islamic instruments which was previously more focused on physical assets such as gold, jewelry and other physical assets. This provides flexibility of Ar-Rahnu to evolve together with more sophisticated instruments. In conclusion, Ar-Rahnu is a concept that is permitted by the Sharia, where its main objective is to protect the well-being of the debtor and the creditor to guarantee the settlement amount. Furthermore, the application of Ar-Rahnu will enable the society to enhance the economy and gain more benefits out of it. Thus, the application of Ar-Rahnu in the current banking practice is more to realize the above agenda and hand in hand to safeguard the interests of both parties by ensuring the customers fulfill the duties of a debtor in the most efficient and secure manner. I'm going to continue with Bay Istisna. There are two definitions of Bay Istisna. The first one is literal definition. The word istisna is derived from the Arabic verb istasna'a, which means to request someone to manufacture an asset. The second definition, which is the technical definition, Bay Istisna is defined as a contractual agreement with manufacturer to produce items with specified description at a determined price and manufactured from his own materials with his own effort. There are five pillars of Bay Istisna. The first one is Mustasni, the customer. The second one is Sani, manufacturer. The third one is Ras Al-Mal, the price. The fourth one is Masnu, the product. And the fifth one is Sewa, which is ijab, offer, and Kabul, acceptance. There are two types of istisna contract. The first one is classical istisna, which is the normal istisna contract that involves two transacting parties, the customer, Mustasni, and the manufacturer, Sani. The second istisna contract is the parallel istisna. Parallel istisna is a contractual agreement consists of two series of separate istisna contracts, whereby the first istisna contract is between the ultimate purchaser, which is the customer, and the seller, which is the bank, who is responsible for delivering the specified asset to the purchaser. There are four conditions of subject matters. The first one is the object to be manufactured must be precisely determined in its type, kind, quantity and quality, considering that istisna contract is a form of sale of the non-existence. The second one is the object of an istisna contract must be something that the people are familiar with to contract it on the basis of manufacture and construction process. The third one is istisna contract always associated with the risk of uncertainty of the deliverability of the subject matter, which can be mitigated through the above said mechanism. The fourth one is if the subject matter does not conform to the contractual specifications at the time of delivery, the purchaser has the right to either refuse or accept it. The conditions of time of delivery. The best view to fix the delivery time to avoid dispute even though it is not a requirement. The second one, the time of delivery of the manufactured object must be clearly specified to avoid uncertainty and ambiguity, which may lead to a later dispute among the transacting parties. The third one is the customer permitted to penalize the manufacturer if the latter fails to deliver the work on specific date. The third condition of istisna is conditions of price for istisna. The price of istisna may be in the form of money, commodity, and usufruct. The second condition is the price of istisna may be spot and different. Therefore, istisna is applicable where salam is not applicable. The third one is price of istisna can be paid in installments. The fourth one is the installments may be tied up with different stages of projects. The last one is when the required goods have been manufactured by the manufacturer, purchaser can exercise his option of defect, but he can't use his option of seeing. There are few differences between Bay Istisna and Bay Salam. The first one is the subject of istisna is always a thing which needs manufacturing, which meanwhile Bay Salam, the subject can be anything whether need manufacturing or not. The second one is the price is in istisna does not necessarily need to be paid in full in advance. Meanwhile, the price has to be paid in full in advance for Bay Salam. The fifth one is time of delivery of istisna product does not have to be fixed, while the time of the delivery is an essential part of the sale for Bay Salam. The last one is the contract can be cancelled before the manufacturer starts working, while the contract cannot be cancelled unilaterally for Bay Salam. The applications of Bay Istisna in contemporary Islamic finance, an istisna contract is applicable to various industrial productions which can be constructed or manufactured and supervised by the specification. Customers are able to apply for the istisna financing facility and other product offered by Islamic bank using istisna contracts such as barrel istisna, hybrid istisna and suku istisna. For barrel istisna, barrel salam takes effect through two separate contracts. In the first contract, the IFI act in the capacity as manufacturer, builder or supplier, which concludes a contract with the customer. In the second contract the IFI act in the capacity of a purchaser and concludes another contract with a manufacturer, builder or supplier in order to fulfill its contractual obligations towards the customer in the first contract. By this process, profit is realized through the difference in price between the two contracts, and in most cases, one of the contract is concluded immediately and the second contract concluded later. That's all from me. Thank you.